Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a quick process video for you today, doing day 9 of Fear the Lord from Bythewell4God. Today we're talking about wisdom and knowledge, and I'm going to be journaling here in Proverbs 1. And in this journaling Bible, you can see the title of Proverbs is really big, but so I want to cover that up. So I'm going to be using the pattern paper that you can get that coordinates with the kit. And then it leaves a little gap down there at the bottom, but I'm going to use one of the die cuts to kind of fill in that space. So that's just one way you could do that. You could just center it or whatever, but that's how I'm going to be doing it today. A really, really simple entry today. So I'm just using my Scotch ATG gun here. This is my favorite adhesive. It's a little bit cumbersome to get kind of used to, but the adhesive is really great and really strong, so I would just really like that. But anyway, back to the page here. I am just lining this up right at the edge of the top of the page, just trying to get that paper on there as straight as possible, and just cutting off the excess, making sure there's no glue kind of sticking out the sides here. And I know that I want to put that die cut down there at the bottom, but I want something that to sort of delineate them and just bring some more interest. So I have this brown, it's like packaging paper, and I'm just tearing off some just to add some other textures to this page so that it's not quite so flat, and just added a layer of that there, and then trimmed off the excess. And then now I'm adding my I needed to add a little glue here for that little corner. It was flipping up, but anyway, then I'm just going to add this die cut down here along the bottom, and it's going to hang off the page a little bit, so I will go ahead and trim that off as well, again using that ATG gun so that I have some really strong adhesive down here at the bottom. And this is just, even though my page is not very dimensional, it just gives it a sort of a look of dimension by having that extra layer of paper back there. Just gives it some extra interest for that beautiful die cut to really pop up off the page. So the next thing I'm going to deal with is the title. I decided to use the flashcard that says wisdom on it. Technically this one says Proverbs 9, and I'm actually journaling in Proverbs 1, but it will be okay. So I'm just using the watercolor dot card there to highlight the verse here in Proverbs 1 verse 7, and then just to coordinate with the colors of the page. And then I went ahead and rounded the corners on the flashcard, and now I'm just going to tear a little background area for my wisdom flashcard to sit on. And I went ahead and just kind of took that paper and I tore it, and then I just wadded it up into a ball to add some extra dimension on there. And now I'm taking some Distress Oxide ink in Vintage Photo, and I'm just very lightly, it's almost imperceptible in the video, but in person you can tell a little bit better. But I just wanted to add, I just very lightly went over the top just to kind of hit the highlights of the creases and stuff in the paper, just to give it a little bit more of an aged look. And then I am gluing the flashcard down, and then I'm going to glue this paper down, but I left all of I just only put adhesive right in the middle, so I left the kind of edges so it would be, you could kind of fluff them up, just again for another little bit of texture, since this page is going to be pretty simple. The next thing I'm going to do is create a journaling spot here. This is some craft cardstock that I have. This is actually from Archer and Olive, from a paper pad. But I'm just going to trim this down, and I like it because it's got the dot grid on it. You can kind of see, and that I can just use that to help me, because like I've mentioned many times, I have a hard time writing in a straight line, so I need all the help I can get. So I'm just rounding the corners of this to kind of mimic the flashcard up there. And then I'm going to write some notes on this journaling card. Now, I want to include some notes from a commentary from Matthew Henry about this part of Proverbs. So I went ahead and wrote that out, and I just at this point felt like I needed something else, just another little something to give that journaling card some interest. So I took one of the fabric little bow clips and I disassembled it. I do this a lot, and then I ripped off a strip of the fabric just to make it a little bit smaller. And now I'm going to sort of I put some glue down, and I'm just going to kind of create fake pleats. I'm just going like accordion folding back and forth this fabric along about 3/4 of the length of this journaling card. And I'm not a seamstress, and so this is just kind of a quick way to kind of do that. I'm learning how to work a little sewing machine, but you'll see that in a minute. But anyway, I'm just going ahead and kind of folding all of those, creating some little fake pleats on there. And then I'm going to go back through with my liquid adhesive, and I'm just going to drop a little like dot of glue in between each one of these little pleats here, just to kind of hold everything down, just to make sure it doesn't pop back up. I'm just holding that in place there for a minute until it dries. It doesn't really take that long. This glue dries pretty quickly. So now I'm just going to use my adhesive here and stick this on my page, and that will do it for the Bible journaling part that I'm doing in my Bible. I most of the time either create in my Bible or in like a separate journal or traveler's notebook or whatever, but this time I decided to do journaling entries, and then I'm using a tag ring that I created to do some extra note taking and things. So I have these pieces that coordinate with the page, and so I know that I want to use them, and I'm flipping through the tags that I have left over here in my book, and I have this page that actually coordinates with the page that I did, but I went ahead and used this other page because it matches the color better for this card that says knowledge on it. But I can still, because everything coordinates so beautifully, I can still use these same elements, and it will still seem like these two pages go together. So I want to use the other piece of that fabric that I had torn apart on this flashcard that says knowledge. So I'm just running some adhesive across the back, and then I'm going to kind of create some like faux pleats on here, and I'm holding that down just as good as I can. And I purchased this little tiny sewing machine, this little desktop sewing machine at Hobby Lobby, just to try to get used to it, to see if getting a real sewing machine is something I think I could manage. And it's a little tricky to work with. I'm still learning, because you kind of have to hold the button down to make it go, and there's no like line, there's no way to line up the edge, so you kind of just, it's very free form, but that's okay. That's the look that I'm going for anyway. So I just stitched across the top of that, and I left all the little strings because I just like those extra textures. So now I'm creating another little journaling card here, and on this card is where I'm going to write out a couple of the other verses from Proverbs that were included in the devotional. So I know I want to use this die cut here with the flowers, so I just kind of held that in place while I wrote out the verses, and then I'm just gluing that down here, and it's going to kind of live down in the bottom. And it was just ever so slightly taller than I wanted it to be, so I'm just going to take my scissors and trim down across the bottom just to make it just a little bit shorter. And that will pretty much be everything for my card. I also included this quote from Charles Spurgeon on the back of one of these journaling cards, and I'm just going to leave this like kind of free floating on my tag ring. So I'm just using the tags to kind of show me where to punch a hole on there so that will fit in my tag ring. And then this particular journaling card says instruction of wisdom on it. There's one of the little sections. And so what I'm going to do, just to kind of emphasize that, is I'm going to take that sort of tealy green color, and I am going to just very loosely watercolor on here in these leaves. And so it's just going to set apart that one little section of this card. You know, feel free to, you could color all of it if you wanted to, or you don't have to, it's beautiful. You don't have to add any color whatsoever. I just wanted to kind of emphasize this point about wisdom here. So I'm just adding a little bit of watercolor, not a lot of water, just to keep everything from curling and whatever. But and then that is just going to go on my tag ring as well. So now I'm just going to use my adhesive here, glue everything down to my card, again keeping those little strings just for the texture. And then I'm going to glue down my journaling card, and that will be it for my tag. And then I will add both this piece and that journaling card onto my tag ring. And then I realized I had not included the number. So on all of these tags, I've been just kind of numbering them with the number stickers from the kit. And I'm just kind of doing it. They're real subtle, but I'm just kind of tucking them on there. And then I realized I had not labeled the day in my Bible either. So I am pulling out my tile alphas here, and I'm just writing day 9 over here in the bottom right hand corner. Just sticking those down so that I know which day these go to. And then I will add these 2 pieces back to my little tag ring here, and that will be it for me for today. So if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. That really helps my channel, gets my might show this to other people who would like it. So until next time, bye bye.